What's going on, everybody, and welcome to episode 61 of the Game Room Podcast. I'm your host, Rome, alongside the slowly going blind gray dot in the middle of his vision.
I looked right at the sun. Actually, no, I didn't. I couldn't even see the sun.
Yeah, you had a bunch of clouds.
Yeah.
No, I mean, it was really cool today.
We had a solar eclipse.
Yeah.
At 3:23 here in Philly, but I didn't see it.
I
also
luckily.
Didn't feel the earthquake that happened.
What if we're all just messing with you?
Yeah,
it's like just trick Dev. There's
a nationwide.
Dev, did you know there was an earthquake? Did you know there was a solar eclipse? But no, all that crazy stuff aside. Ty, what's up to Ty and the Forest in the chat? Ty asks a random question. He says, "When and why did Japan stop being the powerhouse in the video game industry? When did the shift to the West lead the charge?" I think that's actually a really good question.
That's a good question.
I think Western development or Western games in general became really relevant halfway through the PS2 original Xbox era. I mean, obviously, the Xbox platform itself launching caused a big boom in the West. I mean, I know Sega always kind of wanted to lean into that Western tendency, but the Japanese side of that company kind of kept them grounded even to the bitter end, unfortunately.
Would you say that even before the PS2 era, Japan was kind of like the one making the game? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
no, I don't think so. I think in the PS1 and 64 era, I mean, you saw obviously there were Western developers. There's always been Western developers.
Yeah.
But I think you see a shift after like Grand Theft Auto blows up.
Yeah.
I think like the GTA 3, San Andreas, Vice City trilogy, then you start to see that shift where you look at the games that they were putting out, in that era. And then again, like I said, I think the launch of
Halo
the Xbox,
had a lot to do
Halo,
with that too.
just again, that generation is around where I think Western development became really prevalent. And I think in recent years they're coming back, but there was like a really, maybe I might get flack for this, but I feel like there was like a 5-year point here, like in the 2010s, where like Capcom was on the down. Like it felt like outside of Nintendo and first party PlayStation, it didn't feel like a lot of output was coming out of Japan, unfortunately. But they're definitely on the up and up now. I think that things are much better for them. And why did we stop the music? It's a great music. When Devro was making the intro, that was something I was like, Dev, I want this track to be like I specifically chose it because it's great, man. Undertale rocks. Megalovania is just such a great track. And then you spruce it up with some jazz.
Yeah.
Which Persona, I guess, did not invent jazz, according to Forrest.
I mean, according to Ty, it did. So I don't know who to believe.
I guess so. Speaking of not knowing who to believe, you can believe our sources. Gears of War 6, Devro. We're going to get a good look at it this year. Along with other things. Because like I said, this is the Game Room Podcast. We're going to be running through all the headlines from last week. We're going to be talking about the Xbox June showcase and what all the leaks and sources are saying. And, we put all that together for you. We're going to speculate a little bit, have some fun with that. We're going to be talking about Ubisoft and PlayStation also setting up their showcases in the near future. And a bunch of other interesting news, including the end of an era for some Nintendo fans. But, like I said, let's dive right into the topic of the show, which is the Xbox June showcase lineup is beginning to take shape. And the big... So Dev, there's a lot of little things that we're going to touch on, but the big story going around this week is Gears of War 6.
As it should be.
During the latest episode of the Kinda Funny Xcast, host Paris Lilly and Snowbike Mike, they had Jeff Grubb. I know, you don't like Jeff Grubb because he mentions these Zelda ports that definitely exist.
It's not them existing. It's the time frame of when they're going to be released. I know they exist.
Well, they're sitting on them.
Yeah, Nintendo is not. They're not getting up.
They're going to put them out. I think they're going to put them out this year. What else do they have coming this year? Anyways, not the point. It's for a different day. But so they had Jeff Grubb on, and during the episode, Paris Lilly made a prediction that Gears 6 news would arrive in the summer. A prediction which was seemingly verified by Jeff Grubb. When they showed the Marvel 1943 trailer in Unreal Engine 5 during GDC, I jokingly tweeted, "Imagine what Gears 6 would look like in Unreal," Paris Lilly said, because it looked so good. And then somebody from the Coalition made a cryptic little subtweet under me about that, which perked my ears on that. So my conspiracy theory is that you do tease it this year, and then it's probably a launch game for next gen. That seems to make sense to me. So while Lilly's claim was merely a prediction, Jeff Grubb kind of pipes in. He appears to suggest that it was an accurate prediction. Grubb says, "I will say, I've heard some stuff might be happening with Gear 6 this summer. So I think that tease sounds about right to me, Paris. That seems like something we can expect." And then Grubb's statement was shared on Twitter, and The Verge senior editor Tom Warren simply said Grubb was correct.
Okay.
So the wheel is starting to turn a little bit there. Obviously, we've been waiting to see Gear 6 for years now.
Are you ready for it?
Huh?
Are you ready for Gear 6?
I'm so excited for Gear 6, man. It's Gears of War is my favorite Xbox franchise, and it's always been kind of funny because everybody's like, everyone loves Halo. I love Halo too, but everyone's like, Halo is the game that brought them to the ecosystem, brought them to the platform. For me, it's Gears of War. I fell in love with the original Gears of War. I bought an Xbox 360 for the original Gears of War. I chose Xbox 360 over PS3 that generation strictly because of Gears of War. Okay. Like, I played the first Gears of War, went over Alex's house in 9th grade, and I was just like,
you were hooked.
I was changed. It changed me. It's like, if we make a list, which I'm sure we will one day, about like games that have impacted us the most, like Gears of War is on that list somewhere. Because it legitimately just set me on this trajectory to love just being in the Xbox ecosystem and all of that. So I love Gears of War. I'm very excited for Gears 6. Nate the Hate has also chimed in. Let's see. He says he would be surprised if 2024 came and went without a mention or look at Gears 6. He says, quote, "The game will be this is what next gen is about moment." He says Gears 6 will be much like Gears 1 was the moment on Xbox 360. Gears 6 will be a coming out for the Series X and S. Okay. That's exciting to me. Again, because I'm just telling my story about how Gears 1 really hooked me like that. And them sitting here saying, like, hey, this is going to be a similar moment for that brand. I think that's definitely reason to be excited. And then, lastly, another little scoop from an insider about Gears 6. Not really a scoop, but just an observation that was made. If the internet wants to load today. Wow. There we go. Speaking in a cryptic post on Reset Era, user Shinobi602 suggested that Gear 6 will boast mind-blowing visuals. The comment was made in response to users fawning over the screenshots of Hellblade 2. He says, "Wait until you see Gears. People aren't ready. LOL."
That's exciting. I hope it lives up to the hype. That's a high bar, but I'm excited for it.
I'm feeling really good about it, man. I mean, like, I love Gears. I'm very excited for Gears 6. I've said for a long time on this podcast that the best developer that Xbox has, maybe outside of Obsidian, is the Coalition. Like, and that this is a studio that they pretty much built internally. Like, I know that they bought them like a long time ago and they were like Black Tusk Games or whatever it was, but like, this is a studio that's been in Xbox's portfolio that they've been building. And I know we like to point at 343 and say all the things that went wrong with 343, but, you know, on the flip side of it, the Coalition has just been cranking out amazing games since they were brought into the Xbox umbrella. Gears 4 was phenomenal. Gears 5 is phenomenal. I mean, that's my opinion, but Gears Tactics, very enjoyable tactics-based game. And so I have the utmost confidence. So Paris Lilly is predicting that Gear 6 is going to be next gen. I do not think that's going to be... I don't think it's going to be next gen. I think it launches next year.
Yeah, next gen is really far.
I don't think it's far necessarily. I don't think that it's far, but it's
3 years out, I think.
Yeah, no, Ty, I did not say that, and none of the leakers said that either. In fact, Nate the Hate even says, like, I already closed it, but Nate the Hate said it's going to be a coming out party for the series consoles. But it's definitely something to be excited about.
I only recently played the Gears games with Rome. We went through all of them last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were fun.
Yeah, I love Gears of War. I love it for the lore. I love it for the gameplay. I love it for the story. The visuals have always been an art style that really speaks to me. And I can't wait. I can't wait to see this in Unreal 5. Like, seeing what I have seen from Unreal 5 already, knowing that the Coalition are masters of it. So I didn't even put this in the headlines, but Jez Corden from Windows Central did say that a team from the Coalition has actually been promoted to... Like, their job is to basically go around to all the Xbox studios and, like, hey, here's how you use Unreal Engine 5.
Oh, that's cool.
So, like, Jez is kind of speculating, like, what we're seeing from Hellblade, what we're going to see from Gear 6, like, that could be
hopefully
the bar
Yeah.
for Xbox first party in general.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Because Gears games are always made with Unreal, so like this is just sitting. This is like,
And, like, one of the most fascinating things for Gears of War for me is how, like, it's such a misleading franchise if you've never played it. Like,
especially the first like two,
Yeah,
the first
especially.
3 games.
Yeah,
I
because
would say they're very dude bro, and
you think they are.
Well, yeah, and like they kind of are. They really are, but they're a lot deeper.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
On
they
the
get in there.
surface, if you look at a trailer for it, it's like, well, actually, the trailers are pretty good too. But like, you know what I mean? If you
Well, the Mad World trailer is
see the characters.
so not dude, bro. And
Yeah.
that's what blew up in the Gears of War universe. But no, I mean, like, you look at Gears of War and, like, yeah, from the outside looking in, it does have this reputation of being, like, a very dude bro, curb stomping. And, like, it definitely has those things. But,
Yeah.
like, you get into the story and, like, you have, like, Dom looking for his wife. And, like, there's just so much, there's levels to it. And it's what I love about Gears. It's like, hey, we could be this bloody, gory, like, kick-ass game that, like,
There's
maybe...
one scene that I'm thinking of in particular that's like super hard hitting. I think it's in 2.
Is it? Yeah, I can't say it.
Yeah, we won't say it, but
With Dom?
with Dom.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the scene. And it's
Fuck, man. That's... oh, it's so...
Yeah.
I love Gears of War so much. Like, it's no joke. Other things, though, that we might see at the Xbox showcase in June... Windows Central Jez Corden has teased that State of Decay 3 could be making its long-awaited appearance at the showcase. On Twitter, Corden said, "I'm excited about Gears 6 for the June Xbox showcase, but there's another game whose state I'm incredibly excited to learn more about."
Okay.
And, people are just like, okay, we talk about State of Decay 3.
Yeah.
It's been a long time since we've seen State of Decay 3. The game was announced in 2020 during that Xbox Series X initial showcase that, was trying to get people hype. It showed off the announcement for Fable and all that back when there was, like, no gameplay for it. So we're definitely due to see State of Decay 3 because we're going on 4 years since we saw it last. I'm excited for State of Decay 3. I didn't get to spend a lot of time with that franchise, but part of that was because I was like, well, the next one's coming out soon. Little did I know I'd be waiting 4 years for it.
Yeah.
But,
so you haven't played State of Decay 2 at all?
I've played it. I've definitely logged, like, a little bit of time on it, but
Okay.
not a lot.
Okay.
It kind of ended up back in the backlog, just because
I never got into it, but I thought the coolest part is playing zombie games with your friends, like going out and like hunting and collecting resources and stuff like that. Like, that sounds cool.
Yeah. Well, Ty says in the chat, State of Decay 3 is the highest ceiling of all Xbox games. So much potential. Multiplayer Last of Us kind of game. Sounds dope. It does.
Yeah.
It's something that I'm definitely very excited to get into. Again, I think it's going to be a really interesting showcase for them.
I wonder if they'll make it like a DayZ-esque. Like, I wonder if they're going for that.
I think as long as they've been spending working on this game, I think so.
Like, or there should at least be a battle royale mode, if not just already built into the world. You know what I mean? Like,
Well, so like,
potential there, I think.
let's see real quick. So I'm curious. So State of Decay, 1 release date. It released in 2013.
That's the Xbox One, right?
That was an Xbox One game, yeah, exclusive. It released 2013, June 2013. State of Decay 2 was May 22nd, 2018. So 5 years. So you got to think we're kind of on par with where we would expect it to be.
I guess so.
Assuming that it was started in 2019 because they revealed it in 2020.
I could see it still.
We're about 5 years,
Yeah,
so
I could still see it coming out next year, but
yeah, probably.
this year is promising. I do think it'll be a next year release.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think that with them with more money, like this is going to be one of those games, kind of like what Ty says, where there's a big ceiling here because this is going to be a game where they're going to have that funding and they're going to have the power of being behind Xbox and under that banner, and we'll see what they can do with it. Now, Devro, you would think that would be all with the Xbox rumors.
Yeah, that's it, right?
No, it's actually not. Call of Duty Black Ops Gulf War will be featured at the Xbox Showcase in June. As Insider Gaming points out, it was a wild 24 hours for Xbox Showcase rumors with all the other stuff we had just talked about. And now Tom Warren at The Verge is reporting that this year's Call of Duty title, Black Ops Gulf War, will be featured at this year's Xbox Showcase. Insider Gaming can corroborate that this is the plan, but the game is currently set to be revealed prior to the showcase in a more traditional fashion and outside of Warzone. Since 2020, previous Call of Duty titles have been revealed as a live event in the free-to-play Battle Royale, which attracts millions of players during the event. It's understood that Black Ops Gulf War will be revealed prior to Summer Games Fest in June. The showcase will feature some form of deep dive into the game, presumably a campaign mission walkthrough if they go traditional method. We could then hear more about its multiplayer offering around August and zombies soon after. Big news there, but other news that Insider Gaming is reporting on as well. Insider Gaming understands from its sources that this year's Call of Duty title will be an open world campaign developed by Raven Software. Speaking with these sources, it's been said that Xbox is gearing up for an announcement on its back catalog of games following the acquisition of Activision Blizzard. So, Gulf War might not be the only Call of Duty related announcement we'll be hearing in June.
Yeah.
So it seems like the Call of Duty games are getting, kind of lined up to hit Game Pass. At least the Call of Duty back
At least
catalog.
the Call of Duty ones.
Yeah. Now, so this second part of the rumor, I think it's kind of ambiguous with like the time window. Do you think we might see these games announced before June, or do you think it'll be like June showcase and it's available today? Because I think it might be that might be why they're holding it.
I think that's something you save for a showcase. That's a big.
It's like all the Call of Duty games on Game Pass right now.
Yeah.
Right now.
Yeah. I'm sure there's other reasons why it's been taking so long, but that'd be a good thing to hold it out for.
Yeah, so it's really funny to me because I was sitting here this past week and I'm looking at all of these rumors coming out for the Xbox Showcase, and I find it really funny that if you take away the whole multi-platform fiasco that happened and how everybody freaked out about that and the fact that it did happen, if you take all of that away, this has been such an exciting year for Xbox. I find myself personally, and we have a headline later in the show that also kind of backs up why I'm feeling that way, but it's man, it's really hard not to be excited about Xbox right now. I honestly just think that it's obviously there's concerns about the future with multi-platform, but that just might be the way the industry's heading. But when I think about the games coming this year, and then I also think about this June showcase, I mean, so we're talking about seeing probably Gear 6, State of Decay, Call of Duty, more games getting added to Game Pass. We're kind of due to hear about Fable. We're kind of due to hear about Perfect Dark. There's other games in the in the portfolio that one probably haven't been announced yet, and two games that we are still kind of waiting to hear from them too.
The catalog is humongous.
And that's not even assuming that we're not going to see anything new from Blizzard.
Imagine all the Guitar Hero games going on Game Pass, and they're going to start selling guitars again, limited time guitars, and just people just buying it and playing all the Guitar Heroes, or
That's what I'm saying, man. It's just it's really hard right now.
There's so much potential. They're sitting on so much, and I imagine there has to be limitations. I'm sure they're working on it. It has been a while, but it's also hasn't been that long at the same time.
See, I can sympathize from a perspective of it is true that the Bethesda games appeared much sooner. But I mean, you gotta.
They didn't have to fight for Bethesda.
Yeah, exactly. They were fighting for Activision, so it's I could see them really being slow and lethargic for that reason.
And there was a chance they wouldn't have gotten it.
Plus, I mean, and this is something I've always been taught. When companies buy when big companies merge, or when companies of the same size or around it kind of merge, you buy someone out, you don't really change anything for the first 6 months. You kind of just come in and let the business run itself and observe. So who's to say that wasn't also part of Xbox's plan or Microsoft's plan to say okay, like, well, let's see what Activision, how it actually runs now that it's our part of our portfolio. So it's
I
like
get that.
they might have sat on it for that reason as well.
They also it's Activision, Blizzard, and King, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like that's huge.
Yeah.
Like they want to focus on mobile. They're fighting Apple right now. They want to get an app store up.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a lot.
Yeah, they got a lot going on right now. I mean, but at the end of the day, like, games are what matter most, and I know
coming.
that they are. I mean, like, I'm excited for Hellblade. We're going to talk about Hellblade in a little bit.
But I mean, like, even the back catalog stuff, it's coming. I think.
Yeah,
A majority of it.
I'm super stoked for Hellblade. So we'll see, and everything else that's coming. Indiana Jones, I'm excited for that. Like, I don't know. Number 2 in the headline, sticking with the Summer Games Fest, calendar.
Mm-hmm.
Ubisoft has confirmed their event, Ubisoft Forward, is going to be the same week as Summer Games Fest on June 10th. For the second year in a row, the showcase will take place in Los Angeles. Summer Games Fest is set to return with a live event on June 7th. This will then be followed by SGF's Play Days, an invite-only media and influencer event in downtown LA. But yeah, Ubisoft, they announced that they will be doing a showcase on June 10th. And this is another one where, like, honestly, I think Ubisoft, on paper, they should have a lot to show. Now, we know we're getting a Star Wars Outlaws trailer tomorrow.
Okay, actually,
but
I didn't know that.
We
That's
are,
cool.
yeah, that got announced on Saturday or Friday.
I hope it's more gameplay. I imagine it's a narrative.
I think it's a story
at this
trailer. I
point.
heard, yeah. But so we're going to be getting a trailer for that, and so I would expect to see more of that. We're due for Assassin's Creed Red. We're due to see that.
You think that's coming out this year?
Yeah, I kind of do.
I think so too. I think it's a holiday game.
If not, I think I think Star Wars Outlaws might come out before.
They might be their Ubisoft. Might be their...
I think Outlaws comes out before holiday season. I mean, it's already been rated in a few countries. I could see tomorrow's trailer being like it's available like June or July.
Oh, I meant Assassin's Creed. Do you think
Assassin's Creed. Yeah, Assassin's Creed. I see that this year. Yeah, I do. I do. But yeah, I mean, Ubisoft's got a lot of stuff going on right now too. I know that there was a rumor about a Prince of Persia game being made by the Dead Cells team, so then you could see that on that showcase. Okay. Yeah, I just think in general there's going to be... I think Ubisoft has a good amount of content ready to go, where it'll probably be a good showcase from them.
You think we'll see anything for Skull and Bones? You think we'll see anything? Any content?
It's okay. It's alright.
I mean, I didn't play the game.
I know you didn't.
I feel bad. I feel worse for the people who played it and had their hopes up like I did.
Ty, the people that do that are clowns because they're not the same kind of game. Anyways, let's see. Next up, it's not really a June showcase, which also, by the way, this kind of makes me question whether there will even be a June showcase from them. Probably not. But PlayStation is apparently holding some sort of showcase in May. In January, PlayStation hosted a State of Play showcase revealing fresh content for Death Stranding 2, Stellar Blade, Until Dawn remaster, port, whatever, and several other titles. It was a sizable event that was well reviewed, but it seems as though Sony is already shaping up to take the stage once again. Recent claims have suggested that an all-new PlayStation showcase, potentially just a State of Play, will be held next month. This comes from, once again, Jeff Grubb. He says, I've heard that there will be a PlayStation something, either a State of Play or a showcase next month in May. So this is probably going to be there. This he's referring to is Silent Hill 2, which is, I think at this point, like the last big exclusive they have lined up this year, at least that we know of.
Okay.
I think that is the last one, because they kind of blew
if they
their
have
load.
a showcase, I would imagine to announce some more stuff that we don't know about.
Perhaps. I don't know. I mean, if it's just a State of Play, usually the State of Plays aren't very hefty, so I don't know. But, so, I mean, yeah, we're getting to that time of year where we're going to start seeing everybody come out with a bunch of their showcases, so it's exciting times. It's almost like there was, like, something here once that, was important, and it made sense, and it made sense to have everybody in one place.
But couldn't survive?
I don't know what it was. Oh, well. Ty's looking forward to the UB Direct. One of the few years he is. I am as well. And then Forrest says the AC4 remake. Yeah, that is something else that's coming. I think that might still be a few years out, but
I think there's rumors on the first game being remade as well. On the
There
same
is.
engine as...
We covered it a few weeks ago where they have like the next 6 games planned out already. Black Flag I think might be next year, but we'll see.
I hope it's an entire remake and not just like a reskinning.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyways, let's move on. Number 4 on the headlines, and this was something I spoke about a little while ago. A report came out on Sunday. Xbox President Sarah Bond has set up a new team dedicated to game preservation and forward compatibility. Sarah Bond was promoted to Xbox President a few short months ago and kickstarted something of a reorganization to streamline Microsoft's gaming organization to position itself for the future. With Activision Blizzard now acquired, Xbox has become something of a gaming powerhouse, with huge platforms across Xbox console and cloud, PC gaming, mobile titles, and subscription services. Even when you disregard the millions of Game Pass subscribers, Microsoft counts various other subscription service gaming businesses within that fold, from Fallout First to Minecraft Realms and World of Warcraft. The complexity of the Xbox business is doubtless a huge challenge, but there are similarly huge opportunities ahead of the firm. To that end, Sarah Bond recently sent out an email to rally the troops, while also sharing some interesting bits of news in the process. Microsoft has confirmed to us that the correspondence is genuine. So this is where the email starts. It's been nearly 6 months since we've came together as an organization. Our collective achievements in that time frame are tremendous. Everyone should feel incredibly proud of what we've achieved and excited about the opportunities ahead, Sarah said. We are moving full speed ahead on our next generation hardware, focused on delivering the biggest technological leap ever in a generation. Thoughts on that?
Claims. That's pretty huge.
She's saying that internally too.
Because the leap from 1 to series wasn't that big.
Mm-mm. And keep in mind, like I said, this is an internal email. This is not them promoting themselves to their customers. This is just an email that was sent out and it leaked. And Xbox is like, yeah, it's real. Okay. We did send that email to our employees. Sarah also touched upon Microsoft's innovations in gaming AI, understood to be a big part of Microsoft's vision for the future of Xbox. We were recently told that the departing XM tech lead and AI innovator Kareem Kodri, which I think I have this later in the headlines, was known within the organization for putting players and developers first. It seems that influence will continue driving Microsoft's thought process on the tech. Quote, we are innovating in gaming AI, focused on delivering player-first, developer-first value for discovery, engagement, and creator velocity. Further in, Sarah describes how Microsoft is continuing its work to integrate Activision Blizzard games and Battle.net into Game Pass and PC Game Pass. Microsoft brought Diablo 4 to Game Pass a short while ago in the collaboration with the Microsoft Store platform team on the Windows side. Bond revealed that due to Diablo hitting Game Pass, Xbox is now the #1 platform for the game. She says, we are integrating Activision Blizzard King titles into our services. We launched Diablo 4 into Game Pass, and Xbox has quickly become the #1 platform for D4 players. Bond reiterated some of the other games on the horizon for Xbox. We are integrating with Battle.net, all while launching COD Warzone Mobile and preparing for Hellblade, Avowed, and Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. Recently, the preservation of games has become an increasing concern, as the shift to digital licensing models and online services has made it too easy for games to permanently go offline. It's a massive problem in mobile gaming, where publishers and companies like Apple and Google have no problem wiping games from existence. Even core platforms like Nintendo are known to shut down stores, offlining many games. Microsoft is closing parts of the 360 store this year for new purchases. However, hundreds of the most popular Xbox backward-compatible games escaped the 360 and continue to live on in the Xbox One and Series platforms. It seems that now they'll live on even further. As part of the emails to her team, Sarah reveals that Microsoft has now set up a dedicated team to ensure the future-proofing of the current Xbox game library against future hardware paradigm shifts, ensuring that our games remain accessible long into the future. We have formed a new team dedicated to game preservation, important to all of us at Xbox and the industry itself, Bond said. We are building on our strong history of delivering backwards compatibility to our players, and we remain committed to bringing forward the amazing library of Xbox games for future generations of players to enjoy. For me, this is like the real important thing to take away from the email in general. Obviously, we've talked about it a lot with Xbox and the concerns that I have for the ecosystem and what going multi-platform means for them as an ecosystem. And it definitely helps reassure me as a customer and a fan to hear them say, like, hey, we have a team in place now where we want to make sure that, we made this commitment this generation for your purchases, your game library to carry through and carry on. And it seems like that's something that they're doubling down with into the future. So I think that's a big... It may be a given. It may have been a given all along, but them saying, like, hey, we have a team of people, legitimately their job is to make sure that everything here goes smoothly with you into the future. I think that's big for them. Let's see. Sources tell us that Microsoft may have more to share publicly in this area around the annual Xbox Showcase, which is expected to take place on June 9th, per The Verge. So that's the first time we're hearing when the showcase for Xbox would be, as they have not officially revealed a date yet. So June 9th.
I wonder if this team is the start of moving those games to Game Pass. Is that part of putting that on the catalog?
Oh, you think like...
Maybe now they're starting. You know what I mean?
Oh, you think this team is the team that's porting the Activision games to Game Pass?
It was one of the things that you said in a letter where she's like, she mentions the Activision Blizzard's catalog, huge catalog, and what they're planning to do with those games. They have plans with those games. So I wonder if that's part of this team's.
Right.
They have a huge catalog. We want to preserve these games.
I mean, maybe. I mean, that's a good point. I don't know.
It also sounds like it's not that easy just making a new console and just, sending over an app to the new console so they all work.
Yeah.
A lot of work behind it.
Sarah Bond also paid tribute to Kareem Kudri, who is retiring from Microsoft after 26 years. She said, earlier this week at the goodbye party for Kareem, a longtime leader in Xbox, we shared stories about the obstacles we've overcome and the incredible things this team has done, Sarah continued. As I was listening to those stories, I realized that Team Xbox embodies those same three qualities. Windows Central goes on to point out, I recently outlined some of the pain points for Microsoft. Jez Corden wrote a really good essay about his concerns with the Xbox brand. It was really good. And this is one of the concerns. He said he explicitly pertained to what might happen to our digital libraries in a universe where publishers seek growth at the expense of the console. And so this kind of addresses that. Sarah also addressed the challenges facing the wider gaming industry as gaming hours are increasingly concentrated around a handful of so-called black hole titles like Fortnite, Roblox, and Call of Duty, where players get increasingly reluctant to try anything new. The console market has also shrunk overall since its peak in 2008, leaving platform holders wondering where the next generation of growth will come from as costs continue to increase. At a time when the gaming industry's growth is flattening, ours continues, Bond noted, emphasizing Microsoft's ability to diversify and pivot. Microsoft's knack for diversification has helped it leapfrog Apple to retake the world's most valuable company crown. Xbox has now become bigger than Windows itself, a fact that might have seemed impossible 10 years ago. Huge challenges remain, but similarly, huge opportunities are presenting themselves for Xbox. I mean, again, it's like I said earlier. I mean, it's really hard to sit here and talk about the future of Xbox week in and week out, and like, I'm just excited about them. Maybe it ends up not working. Maybe they do go third party. Maybe the ecosystem does die out. I don't know, but it's hard right now to not feel good about the games that are coming and Game Pass and all that stuff. I will tell you one thing, Devro, that is not coming. That is gone. Dead. As about 58 minutes ago. The Wii U and 3DS online servers have been shut down on today, Monday, April 8th, 2024, as of 8 p.m. Sad times, man. Real sad times. I mean, so as of right now, 3DS Pokemon games, Omega Ruby, Alpha Sapphire, X and Y, online play for those is gone. Never to return. Smash Brothers for the 3DS, amongst other titles. Yeah, Yeah, I mean, it's just I can not even just Smash for the 3DS, Smash for the Wii U as well.
Yeah.
If you like that game, I mean, you're kind of.
I mean, I think any like.
Oh, all of it. It's all gone.
Yeah.
Mario Kart 8.
3DS is the 3DS.
I mean, you have the Switch.
The DS line, I guess, is.
It's dead. It's dead. It's officially dead.
Yeah.
So that's something that's going on right now in the industry, and it's really unfortunate. It sucks to see it happen.
I remember, I think it was you who got the 3DS, and you brought it to Aerospace, and we're playing with the AR cards.
Yeah.
In Aerospace, me, you, and Forrest.
Mm-hmm.
Not doing class, we were just messing around.
I mean, we all got A's in
okay.
Aerospace.
Yeah, great class. But I just remember
The aeroplane story.
Yeah, you brought.
I'll have to tell that someday on the podcast.
I'm sure you have.
I don't think I have. Not on the podcast. It's not a gaming related story, so I've never told it. I'll have to tell it sometime.
I remember you brought the 3DS and we're just playing with the AR cards, and it's just like really cool, just
Yeah.
nothing, and then playing those games where you're like shooting each other's heads. Yeah.
No, for sure. Yeah, it sucks, man. I mean, obviously the games are still there if you own them. Buy physical. Then I can still plug my 3DS games in and my Wii U games in, and they'll still run. But it's very unfortunate. It's a shame that a lot of those games are added to the list of games that it's impossible to officially support the official release for them, Devro.
How are we gonna get these games?
I don't know, man.
There was a way to
if only Apple could
do something about this.
Aeroplane Forest. Yeah, it's a great story. That's like one of my all-time favorite high school stories. Like it's like top. It might be my favorite of all time.
Probably is. You tell it all the time.
It's because it's a great story.
It's okay.
It's only okay for you because you had to do a whole new assignment.
A in the class. It's fine.
Everyone got an A in the class, I think. Anyways, next up in the headlines, Apple is allowing retro game emulators on their App Store. The Nintendo assassins are like, what? Go.
How dare you disrespect?
The following comes from The Verge. Apple is loosening its App Store restrictions and opening the marketplace up to retro game emulators. In an update on Friday, Apple announced that the game emulators can come to the App Store globally and offer downloadable games. Apple says those games must comply with all applicable laws, though, an indication it will ban apps that provide pirated titles. The move should allow the retro console emulators already on Android, at least those that are left, to bring their apps to the iPhone. Game emulators have long been banned from iOS, leaving iPhone owners in search of workarounds via jailbreaking or other workarounds. They're also one of the key reasons so far that iPhone owners in the EU might check out the third-party app stores now that they're allowed in the region. Apple's change today could head that off. Alongside the new rules on emulators, Apple also updated its rules around super apps, such as WeChat. It now says that mini-games and mini-apps within these apps must use HTML5, clarifying that they can't be native apps and games. I would just like to take this moment to, without giving an opinion, remind everybody that there is no way to officially support the release of Pokemon Gens 1 through 6. So
that's all you're saying.
That's all I'm saying. Yeah. I'm not saying that it's understandable to use emulators for these games, as there's no way to officially support Nintendo and pay for these games via Nintendo services. I'm not saying anything like that. Not endorsing it. Nope, not doing that. I am openly saying you should definitely support the official release when possible. But if it's not possible, I'm sure there are people out there that Things happen. Yeah. I mean, who knows? Maybe I don't have an iPhone either, so I don't know. Maybe someone's like fiddling with their iPhone. It's like, oh, I just downloaded Pokemon Yellow by accident. Oh no! Well, oh no, I tripped. I'm playing it. Just fucking put your games on. Just make them available. Like, is it really that hard? Is it really that hard to just like, hey, look at these Game Boy games. Let's just fucking make them available.
Maybe it is.
Emulators are gonna get bigger. It's the funniest thing to me because Nintendo themselves are their own biggest enemies in things like this, because if you make all of these games available, the usage of emulators will go down. Like, that's just facts. It's just factual. And yet they're just like, no, you're not going to play these games and you're not going to download these games.
Yeah.
Like, no.
You're not getting them.
You're not getting them. Well, anyway, so, good for Apple. I'll say it. Good for Apple. And then, you know what? They're probably doing this because, like the article said, they want to get in front of these other marketplaces that are coming to their platform. So, like, they're just trying to, like, save their own losses in some places where they can. Mm-hmm. I don't even care. Good for them. Support the official release. But if there is no official release, do what you gotta do. I don't care. What, is Nintendo going to send their assassins after me? Please do. I love Nintendo. I buy every Nintendo game. So I support Nintendo. Except for when I can't.
Sounds like to them it doesn't. To them they're calling you a traitor.
I'm sure they are, but you know what? It is what it is. Before it says you are be downloading. Number 7 on the headlines. Ubisoft Toronto may have teased the Splinter Cell news, or Splinter Cell remake news. It was recently revealed that Ubisoft Forward is going to be on June 10th, but recently Ubisoft Toronto made changes to its social media profile on Facebook, updating the user profile photo and cover image to represent Splinter Cell. It was a couple of years ago that Ubisoft Toronto revealed that it was working on a remake of the first Splinter Cell game. However, since then, they've been radio silent. This is another game that I am very excited to possibly see from Ubisoft Forward on June 10th. I love Splinter Cell.
I wouldn't get your hopes up for it just yet. It's been...
I mean, they've been working on it, so again, it's kind of like one of those, hey, they're kind of due for it type things.
Yeah.
But that being said...
Ubisoft hasn't been going that smoothly recently. So.
No, they haven't, but this could be why it's a big year for them. I mean, kind of like Ty said, it's one of the first years where it's like really a lot of anticipation coming out of them, coming out of Ubisoft, where Assassin's Creed Red, Star Wars Outlaws, this Splinter Cell remake, the rumors of the Prince of Persia game, like there's a lot of stuff going around. So I mean, let's see if Ubisoft can pull it out and make it happen. I love Splinter Cell, especially my favorite is Conviction, which is not one of the older ones. It's one of the more recent ones. Recent, it came out in like 2008, but yeah. it is one of the more recent ones. Yeah. So yeah, I love that game, and I hope that we see this game soon, hopefully in June. Number 8 in the headlines, there is a change at PlayStation. The new era has started. My guy, Hiroki Totoki, the man with one of the best names in the history of the universe, is now officially the interim CEO of PlayStation. It was announced back in September that Jim Ryan would be stepping down, which he did. His last day was March 31st. And Hiroki Totoki took over last Monday, April 1st. Now that Ryan's gone, Totoki is stepping in to oversee the PlayStation division while keeping his current role as president of Sony. A more permanent successor to Ryan will be found. But Mr. Totoki will work closely with the Sony Group Corporation Chairman and CEO Kenshiro Yoshida and the management team of SIE to help define the next chapter of PlayStation's future, including succession of SIE CEO role, Sony said in a statement at the time. So Hiroki Totoki is now the guy at PlayStation, and I think his recent comments kind of show you what he envisions for the future of PlayStation. I mean, maybe not multi-platform right out the gate, but definitely day and date with PC at the very least. So it's something to be a thing. Yeah, I guess Luna's typing in the chat.
Shout out to Luna.
This
guy, I think Sony's okay with this. I think this guy is going to be good for Sony.
I think so too. I think it's going to be good for their business. Mm-hmm. And with a name like Hiroki Totoki, you can't go wrong. Like I don't know this man, but with a name like that, I would die. I would die for this man.
Okay.
Like Hiroki Totoki. Say it. Just say it. It's a fun name.
I don't want to say it.
Why don't you want to say it? You have a problem with Hiroki?
No, he seems like a great guy.
So what's wrong?
Nothing's wrong.
So why won't you say his name?
I don't need to say his name.
You don't want to say his name?
Enough for me. I think when you say his name, there's like something that triggers.
Why is it triggered? Are you alright? Why are you triggered?
No, I mean in you. You just like saying his name so much.
It just makes me happy. Is it wrong to find joy in the things in life? Okay. Anyways, best of luck to Hiroki Totoki. I'm going to skip number 9 because we kind of talked about it briefly.
Okay.
About the Xbox. Yeah. But so we will move on to the next one in the headlines. Ninja Theory co-founder Tamim Antonidas is leaving the studio. Force is down. Hiroki Totoki. On a recent visit to Cambridge, the UK-based studio for Hellblade 2 preview, Polygon noted that there was no sign or mention of Antonades, who was formerly the company's chief creative director. A spokesperson for Xbox, which owns the studio, later confirmed to the site that Antonades was no longer with the developer. VGC has contacted Microsoft to request further details about his departure. While he worked on numerous games at Ninja Theory, Antonades notably served as writer-director on Heavenly Sword, Enslaved: Odyssey to the West, DMC, Devil May Cry, and Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice. According to Polygon, he was involved in the early stages of Hellblade 2, but the game is now being led by 3 creative leads: environment art director Dan Atwell, visual effects director Mark Slater Tunstall, and audio director David Garcia. I believe VGC actually doesn't have the whole story because he did come out and say he just felt like it was time to move on. Yeah, it's not in the article, but he had said that on Twitter. So I have a bad link, but it's okay. He said that he wanted to stay on board with the studio to help see Hellblade 2 to completion, and once they hit that final stages, he left.
It's weird that they didn't add his name though. Like he was involved in some way, right?
What happened?
He was involved in some way with this game, right?
Yeah, I believe. Again, maybe
so why not have his name included in it?
Well, no, they were saying that they were visiting the studio and there was no sign of him.
Oh, okay.
There was no office for him, or because that's the thing. The Hellblade previews went out last week. Game looks phenomenal. Like, I know you don't want to see the previews.
Yeah.
Very excited for Hellblade 2. I can't wait for that week because
Are
it's
you
going to
replay
be
the first game?
probably not.
Okay.
I mean, I have a pretty good remembering of the game. I got to see where I'm at with Final Fantasy VII Rebirth because I'm not done that yet. Hitting 60 plus in that in terms of the hours. So most people who did everything seem to finish up or like around 80. So I think I'm getting close, but we'll see.
Okay.
But yeah, so he's left the studio. But regardless, like I said, still very excited for Hellblade 2. Next up, we have a KOTOR remake update. The Knights of the Old Republic remake is alive and well, says Saber Interactive CEO Matthew Karch. Speaking with IGN in a new interview, Karch confirmed that the game is still in active development. It's clear and it's obvious that we're working on this KOTOR remake, he said. It's been in the press numerous times. What I will say is that the game is alive and well, and we're dedicated to making sure we exceed consumer expectations. Knights of the Old Republic has had several public reports over the years that development hasn't been going well. The game was dropped by Asper after it was said that production wasn't going fast enough, reported Bloomberg. I don't want to hear about Asper not being down with the game development when they couldn't even develop a Battlefront port. That's neither here nor there.
Yeah.
I mean, which while we're at it, so I did get all the achievements for Battlefront Classic Collection minus one. The achievement for unlocking all achievements. So, I have all the achievements. I just don't have the achievement that says I unlocked all the other achievements.
So you don't have all of them until you get that one.
It's a paradox.
Yeah.
And I've already submitted a bug report. I'm sure other people have too, because I went on True Achievements and everyone's like, yeah, no one's getting this achievement. It's just not unlocking.
Damn, that sucks.
Yeah, so. And it's 200 gamer score too, so it's not like it's like a 10 gamer score to knock onto the 990 already there. It's like, no, it's a 200 gamer score achievement. So I'm kind of just sitting here like, I would like to get my 200 gamer score, please. Maybe. It's kind of how these things work. Ty says, if Saber is still making the KOTOR remake, I wonder if they're still looking for a publisher to help. Well, I mean, now that they're independent, maybe not. I don't know. That's a good question, Ty. I'm not sure. We'll have to see. But it's good to hear that the KOTOR remake is still in development. Next, ever, I want to talk to you about Tekken 8 players. They're frustrated.
Is it a Waffle House thing?
Devro, I wish it was a Waffle House thing. I wish we were talking about Waffle House here today. But unfortunately, we are not. During a recent Tekken talk stream, as spotted by MP First, the game's developers revealed that a Tekken Fight Pass is coming to the game. According to the feature's description, the Fight Pass will work like battle passes in live service games, in which during the specified period, players can increase their level by completing daily and weekly missions in online matches, allowing them to obtain various items. As with most other games' battle passes, the Tekken Fight Pass will have a free tier and a paid premium tier, where items are even more luxurious, and players can earn Tekken coins to buy items in the Tekken shop. The announcement has angered players who feel that they have already paid $70 for the base game. They're now seeing other microtransactions being added post-launch. Tekken 8 launched in January, and around a month later, Bandai Namco then added microtransactions to the game, along with a Tekken shop where items could be bought for real money. According to YouTube user comments under the stream and numerous highly upvoted posts on the Tekken subreddit, many players feel the latest edition of the Battle Pass is a step too far. Disappointed, said YouTube user Kex Kuchin. Would have never bought the collector's edition had I known that you guys would patch in a microtransaction shop and battle passes. At least Street Fighter 6 had the decency to say this up front. You should be ashamed. Another one was, I was annoyed about the Tekken shop, but got over it. But a battle pass, added user ShinyShink789. They're treating this full price game like it's a free to play. I can't believe how low companies must go with microtransactions nowadays. On the Tekken subreddit, a thread titled "A F2P model in a full price game is beyond scummy" has nearly 1,000 upvotes. Another one, quote, I personally pre-ordered the Ultimate Edition, believing I would be getting all of the DLC content with the Season Pass. Its author, OddBarking6571, wrote, they were dishonest and they lied. They then alleged they always knew there was going to be a Tekken shop and a battle pass, but yet soon spoon-fed it to the community because they knew they were going to have backlash if they told us from the beginning. So, Devro, I want to kind of pump the brakes real quick and ask your opinion. So, do you think it's wrong of the Tekken developer to sell your game in a traditional manner where, like, okay, you have the $70 base game, you have a special edition which advertises you're going to get all of the DLC, and then a month into launch, you drop a store with microtransactions, and then a month after that, you're introducing battle passes and more paywalled off content. Do you think that the way that they're doing it specifically, do you think that is justifiable or okay?
I think it's fine to do it. I think you have to let people know beforehand. The shop thing, I think everyone should have been expecting a shop. Name a fighting game that doesn't have a shop where you can buy cosmetics. Like, that just doesn't happen anymore.
Yeah, that's fair.
It's more so the battle pass. I don't know what it includes versus what people who bought the season, like, why do you have a season pass if you're going to have a battle pass as well? Mm. You should include it. If somebody bought the season pass, they should be included on the first, however many battle passes that you should have stated beforehand. Like, I don't think it's bad that they did it. They did it without telling anyone beforehand.
Well, that kind of goes in line with this next comment. A third thread said, regardless of pricing, you must admit waiting to tell about microtransactions and battle pass is scummy. And that received over 800 upvotes on the subreddit. Another user wrote, let's be honest, the whole point was to avoid backlash at launch and shortly after, which is exactly when the loyal fans of the series would buy the game. Even if the people were still on the fence about it, most of them probably still bought it shortly after launch, after hearing the praise surrounding it. Once everyone was on board, they finally revealed their true agenda. As much as I'd love for it to be a better explanation, it's the way it is. And I kind of agree with you. I mean, I think, like, while I definitely don't like the Battle Pass model myself personally, I think the way that they handled it is kind of unacceptable. I think you put, if you want this to be in your game, you need to be upfront about it. The one user said, like, at least Street Fighter 6 said upfront, like, hey, this is part of our game. Mm-hmm.
It's like, if the stuff they're selling in the store is cosmetics, I think it's completely fine. Like, sell your cosmetics. You bought the game, fine, whatever. The characters have alternate costumes included. That's cool too. If you're gonna sell additional, if you want to add additional costumes or you want to sell them, I think that's fine. Like, some people pay for it for their favorite character, some people don't. It's whatever.
See, I would say that it's a slippery slope.
But so here's the thing. For example, with Halo, you drop a Halo and whatever you drop. Okay, you drop it around Christmas time, and then I don't know. Cinco de Mayo comes and they have Cinco de Mayo costumes, and they're like, "Hey, we're gonna sell these outfits if you want to get them." Like I just, see, especially if you're staying with a game like that.
I think for me, again, it really comes down to how you go about doing your business. I think charging $70 for a game and not telling people that it's going to have these things, I think that does rub me the wrong way. I also think it's really crappy to sell a special edition saying like, hey, you're going to get all the DLC content, and then a month after launch, it's like, actually, you're not getting all the DLC content. You're getting that DLC. But here's all this other stuff that you can now buy additionally. Yeah. I'm not a fan of it. I'm not a fan of how they went about and did it. I don't like, and Ty says, I don't understand the details. If it's cosmetics, I don't really mind as long as it doesn't affect gameplay.
I agree with that.
Here's the thing, though, and I'll kind of play devil's advocate on it. Like, it's not just about it, whether it gives people an advantage. It's about how people are spending their money and just adding these things on. Like, it's not a question of competitive edge. It's a question of are you ripping off your customers? And I think that's where people feel.
I agree that it should be included into the battle pass. Like, this is new content. I paid for not a battle pass, the
special
pass.
edition.
Yeah, because I paid for this season pass to get new content. You should give me new content because I paid for it. Like, I already gave you the money.
But I would also argue that maybe if people are aware of these things, maybe because some people don't buy the game. Maybe they're like, well, I don't want to spend $70 and then not have all this content be paywalled off still. Because that's the other thing. It's like we talk about cosmetics, right? And you're just like, oh, well, the cosmetics is just cosmetic. It doesn't affect the gameplay. It's like, okay, it may not give you players a competitive edge, but that doesn't necessarily make it okay all of a sudden. I mean, paywalling content like that behind what customers feel like is a premium priced game at $70, it's not like Tekken 8 is launching at a lower price point to attract customers and then they make their money through microtransactions. If that's your business model, be that business model. If you're going to be a game that launches at a lower price point with the intention of like, hey, we're going to make, content and we're going to continue to put content out there, make it a live service. If we're going to make a live service that people will continually pump money into, that's fine. Do your business model. I may not like it, but it doesn't matter whether I like it or not. Like, make that game like that. But I can't sit here and say like, well, I don't think it's a good, I think it's a bad business practice to launch a game and make it appear like it's a premium title at $70. You price it like a premium title. And then a month later, you're just like, by the way, guys, here's this microtransaction shop. I just think you got to be upfront about it. I think like that's where my big thing is like, don't sneak it in a month into release. I don't like that. I don't think that's good.
It's confusing how if you had just told me, oh, hey, they patched in the microtransaction store and Battle Pass to Tekken 8, I'd be like, okay. It's just one of those things that comes with fighting games today are live service games. If you I don't know if you can't name another fighting game that won't have DLC content or a battle pass anymore. Like, it's just, especially Tekken 8. If you want to compete with Street Fighter and you want to compete with Mortal Kombat, it's just I don't know, that is what it is.
The thing is, I'm not disagreeing with you. For me, it really is about how you go about doing it. I think like at that point, make it clear to your customers that this is going to be a thing. Like, hey, you're paying this $70 price point, but that doesn't mean this is a premium purchase. You're not getting all the you're not getting all the content. That's what it is. Like, it's just like, you could do that. You could sell your game that way. You have every right to make your game and sell your game however you want to do that.
Yeah.
But you have you should definitely not make it seem like that to customers that it's not the case.
In that 1 month, while people were playing it, no one said it was missing anything. No one said, oh, this game feels like I'm cheated out of stuff. Like, you know what I mean? Like, Tekken 8 was getting great reviews.
You don't think that they kept content off the official release to...
I'm sure, but it didn't feel like an uncut game. It felt like a finished game. You got a full storyline. You got all the characters that you wanted. They have all the alternate costumes. You got all the stages you want to play on, except Waffle House. And now, a month later, they turn on the market and add more content. To me, I just don't see why people are angry. If it was a half-baked game, like if you got a game and it was like, oh, they're leaving out core characters and core stages and none of my characters have alternate costumes. Like, then that's a half-baked game. But I feel like you got a full game, and now they're just releasing additional content for a price.
I totally hear you, and like we're not disagreeing, but I just think that the way you go about it, like you need to be upfront with what you're selling to customers. Like I don't care what you're selling to customers. Like I mean, I have opinions on what you're selling to customers, but in terms of you doing your business, do your business however you want. But I think consumers have a right to know what they're getting into when they buy a product.
But they did though. They knew that they were getting Tekken 8, and they got all of Tekken 8.
And again, you're missing the point. It's about price point. You're charging $70, which in today's gaming landscape, that is the price of a premium title video game.
Yeah.
If you are spending $70, there's a reason why Ubisoft CEO is sitting there trying to justify the Sea of Thieves, Skull and Bones. It's crazy that I'm already forgetting the name of that game, and the game just came out a month ago, by the way. But the fact that Ubisoft CEO is trying to justify Skull and Bones price point by saying it's a premium game, it's quadruple A. Like that is the promise that these game companies are making. When you see a price point in today's gaming landscape,
you're saying you expect to get a full game with that.
I think it's $70. Like it's okay to have some bonus content, but like make it known that there's going to be bonus content. But at the same time, I generally speaking, when you price games in today's gaming landscape, one positive that I do think is a good thing now is that, there is not really a set structure on what you charge for a video game. A new game can release in 2024 at $20, at $30, at $40, $50, $60, $70. We haven't really seen out above $70 other than special editions.
What I'm saying is, I hear what you're saying, but Tekken 8 is a full premium experience by itself.
Well, apparently the customers don't believe that. They're looking at this microtransactions and all this, and they feel cheated.
So the first month that it was out, when all the reviews came out as good, you take those away because they're adding paid content? That doesn't make sense.
I think it's fair when you're not being upfront and honest about what you're selling.
It's not, but it doesn't take away from everything you said about the game. You know what I mean? The fighting still feels the same. It's Tekken 8. You bought Tekken 8 for $70. You played it for a month. You loved it, and now they're saying, "Hey, here's some paid content," and now you're like, "Oh, this game sucks now." Like, it just doesn't. That's the part I don't.
So let's go over to chat and kind of get everyone involved. So Forrest says. So let's back up a little bit. So Forrest says greed, greed, greed. Ty says, as they should. Why would they care about anything else than money? Ty agrees with me. He says, be upfront about it. But Ty says he doesn't mind it being added or included as long as it doesn't.
That's what I'm saying. Be upfront about it. Game. Yeah, it doesn't change the game. It's more content.
Forrest says, because people matter more than money. The fuck? Ty says, to you, Dev, you're right. It was finished. No one complained about the lack of content, or so everything added is DLC. Forrest says, and I really agree with this. Again, I think it should have been on a roadmap. Ty says that is the gaming industry a charity? It's not charity, but it's basic, not scummy shit. And I agree with Forrest. Like obviously, it's a business, and you got to make your money. I totally understand that. Again, I just think you got to be upfront. I
think the only people who are allowed to be upset by this are people who bought the season pass. If you bought a special edition or whatever that came with a season pass, and you're missing out on content, and now they're selling that content, I would be pissed about that. That's completely different. I
definitely agree with.
But if you bought Tekken 8 at $70, you played it for the month, and everything was fine, you loved the game, and you agree with the reviews that came out, I don't see a justification for you being upset here.
So Ty agrees with you, and look, again, I'm not saying that they can't do this. I'm just saying I do think it's scummy, and I don't agree with it. I think that it's not something that you should do to your customers, is to make this seem like, hey, you're getting this game at $70 and it's the game, and like, hey, they're like, to be fair,
but it is the game. That's the thing.
See,
in reviews,
I think something we're always going to disagree on is, and I know Ty doesn't like when people say this, but there was a time when these things that they're selling for extra money were included in the game. So but
not always though. Like, if you look at, it's a live service game, so they keep going on. Sometimes there's content that like you can't put in the game. The game's been out for a year. I can't do anything else to that game.
This game has not been out for a year. It's been out for 30 days.
But
at this point, 45 days.
There are games that are supported that long where it's like, hey, it's Christmas time. We're gonna have Christmas outfits and all this other stuff. You don't get that if the game doesn't have DLC or downloadable content.
Yes, but that's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about a month after launch. They said, "Oh, hey, here's a shop with microtransactions. Here's a battle pass." Like, you mean to tell me that they did not have any of this ready? So They didn't have any of this ready at launch, or they didn't even have it
No, of course
as an
you do.
idea at launch, because they didn't even have it
No, of course
as an
you do.
idea at launch. Because that's what I'm saying. Like that's where the problem is. The problem is that you're making this, and you're very clearly not telling the people buying this game that this is going to be a thing. Like that, and that's where that's where I think it's not right. If you're someone who wants to buy Tekken, and you're looking at it as like, okay, what do I know about this? I know that there's a $70. It's $70. I know that there's a season pass with this content here. So you're making that choice like, okay, well, as a consumer, I know what I'm getting into because I know that this is what it is right here. And then 30 days later, you're like, oh, here's microtransactions. Here's a shop full of content. Here's battle passes that you could pay for. Like I'm sorry, but I think that's wrong. Like, you could make your games that way, but you got to be upfront about it. Like, I think that's where the disconnect here is, where it's like, be upfront about it. Because I don't disagree with you. I think like a year down the line, like Tekken comes out and it's like, okay, like Smash Brothers, right? Smash Brothers is the best way that it's been done, where it's like, hey, here's the game. We're announcing DLC. We have not made the DLC yet. We'll see you when we're ready. And that's the way to do it, because you're upfront about it. You're doing all that stuff, and you're still going to sell your extra content. And that extra content included Mii costumes. So, like, they did all of this.
Yeah.
They did all of this. But what is the difference? The difference is that you told your customers what they can expect when you buy this game. And that's the difference. And that's where I have a problem with the Tekken developer doing it. You can do your business however you want, but you should definitely not lie to your customers. And yes, a mission of the truth is lying. So, Forrest actually has the game. The season pass thing is the only legs to stand on. That's fine. For a fighting game thus far, it was pretty complete. At Forest, left Forest on fire. Yeah, but Forrest also does say that it is scummy, which is exactly what I'm saying. Like, I'm not saying that it's. I'm not saying that the game wasn't a complete game either. Like, again, like, just to be clear, I'm not saying it was wrong to come out with more content or that the game is half baked. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying tell your customers beforehand that this store is going to be a part of their business model. That is what I'm saying. But Forrest agrees communication matters. Yeah,
No, it
that's
does
all.
matter.
That's all I'm saying on that.
I think if you get a full game and they add additional content by like surprise, here's more content.
Sure, like
that
a
you
year
can pay
later,
for.
yeah, a year later, yeah, surprise.
Or like even a month later, it's just like it's like
I disagree.
it's different if they're taking something you already had and making you pay for it, or it's different if the game wasn't completely finished and they're making you pay for it. Like, you got a full game, you liked it, we saw the reviews. Here's more content to keep enjoying in game if you want to put money into it. I don't know.
Yeah, and again,
people they should have. We're all saying the same thing. They definitely should have told.
yeah,
people.
we're all saying the same thing. It's just the severity of how we feel about
Yeah,
it.
it's just-
Yeah, I don't think any four of us are disagreeing. We're all saying the exact same thing. I literally agree with both Forrest and Ty and you. Like, yeah, like they could do it. Just you need to be upfront about it. Like, I know someone that literally bought a next gen, or I guess current gen console just for Tekken. I mean, I haven't talked to him about this, but
I'm sure he's happy about it. He gets to pay for more content if he wants it.
I don't know. I'm just saying, like, you should definitely be upfront with your customers. That's all I'm saying. All right, next up. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth and the remake, and the original game's composer, has confirmed that he will compose the main theme for the final game in the Final Fantasy VII Remake trilogy. Nobuo Uematsu has agreed to compose the main theme for the third game in the trilogy. Uematsu is most famous for composing the soundtracks for the first 9 Final Fantasy games and working on numerous subsequent entries. Although Final Fantasy VII Remake and Rebirth contain soundtracks created by different composers, Uematsu still composed the main theme for both games. Although Uematsu has recently been talking about his career nearing its end, he has agreed on camera to finish the set and compose the main theme for the as yet untitled third game in this trilogy. In a new conversation posted on the Square Enix music channel, Uematsu discusses Rebirth and the game with the game's creative director and their writer. After discussing the making of No Promises to Keep, which is the main theme of the second game, Rebirth, Yumatsu was asked to commit to composing the theme for the third game. Quote, "Since you worked on the first and second in the series, it stands to reason that you have to come back for the third. Not that we've made it official yet, but I'd like to believe you're a lock for the next title. You'll do it, right?"
Like,
Yumatsu laughs. And so Nomura, who asked the question, reiterates, "Again, this isn't an official statement or an official business offer. This is just a gentleman's agreement, maybe. You will come back for the third game, right?" Yumatsu says, "It will be my honor."
it sounds like a threat. The last time he asked.
It's like, you'll come up, right? You're coming through, right? You're going to make it? Nomura asks, "Are you up to the challenge, though? It's going to be hard to surpass the songs you've already composed for us. What are you going to do?" "For starters," Yumatsu jokes, "I'm going to take a vacation." As far as Final Fantasy is concerned, I'm still involved by writing the main themes for the games. He recently told German publication Zeit Online, but I don't think I'll compose music for a whole game again. So yeah, it seems like they are in the early stages of starting the next game in the trilogy, and yeah, Yumatsu will be back to do the main theme.
That's good.
Forrest says, "Do it or else." I mean, yeah, like, what choice do you have? Like, at this point, like, you kind of have to. Like, I get where they're coming from.
Have you been enjoying the music in the game?
It's so good, and it's what's insane about it is that, and maybe I just don't remember from like the first remake, like the first game in the trilogy. It's so hard to describe because they're all remakes, but it's a trilogy.
Yeah.
In 7 remake, it's like I don't remember like it being such a broad range of music in the game, but like Rebirth is insane because like
you hear all
they've got like techno, they've got hip hop, they've got rock, they've got like everything. There's just a little bit of everything in it, and it's such a phenomenal game.
Isn't there a whole song with like just dogs barking or something like that?
If there is, I haven't seen it yet, but I believe it. I totally believe it. So yeah, I'm really enjoying Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I'm about 60 plus hours in. I've kind of taken shape on where I would review the game, which we'll talk about when I finish it. But I'm really enjoying it. I'm at Nibelheim, which doesn't mean anything to you,
No.
but yeah, we'll see what's keep everyone updated as I get closer to the end of the game. Capcom is asking fans about what kind of games they want to see from the publisher. They launched, it's called a Super Election Survey in February on its Capcom Town website, asking players 10 questions about various aspects of Capcom. One of these questions are there any Capcom game series, including spin-offs, that you'd like to see get a sequel or a new game? Daisy is right behind you. What? I don't understand.
There's no one behind us.
There's no one behind us. I don't know what he's talking about. Fascinating. Oh, I'm guessing like he's watching like this and she's like there, I guess. I don't know.
Hi, Daisy.
Hi, Daisy. Anyways, another question asked was, is there a game you'd like to see completely remade with the latest technology, including character design and story direction? Although the survey isn't scheduled to end until April 12th, Capcom has shared a word cloud of the results. And if you look at the word cloud, 2 big names, Mega Man and Dino Crisis. You also see other little things. Resident Evil is up there, pretty big. Devil May Cry. Street Fighter kind of shows up a little bit as well. If you go through it, there's a lot of little things you could look and see. But yeah, it looks like Capcom fans generally want to see some Dino Crisis and some Mega Man.
Do you see Soul Calibur on there anywhere? No, that's my pick. Soul Calibur needs
I mean, I see
fresh
Street
coat of
Fighter, Onimusha. I see Beautiful Joe. A little bit of Beautiful Joe going on there. Devil May Cry. Marvel. We need another Avengers game. Well, no, Avengers was Square Enix. Marvel versus Capcom.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Monster Hunter. I see a little Monster Hunter right there. Dragon's Dogma. Why does that get? That doesn't get a remake. It just came out. Well, I get the first one, maybe. I guess. I see Okami.
Dead Rising. I didn't even see that the first time.
Yeah. I don't know. They might be in there. I don't see it right now. Look how small the word microtransactions is.
But they added it. They can't say they didn't add it.
Well, the thing is, I think these are all possible answers.
Yeah.
So one person
Once microtransactions.
said microtrans. Like, yes. They're listening to the Tekken segment. They're like, let's go. Capcom, bring back Beautiful Joe. Everyone wants Beautiful Joe. Everyone agrees. Oh, Daisy's right behind me in Final Fantasy VII. That makes sense. Okay. I was like, what is he talking about? It's like, yeah. So that's what's going on with
the
that.
gameplay I have up is Dino Crisis 3.
I've never played Dino Crisis.
Which is it's a horror game in space. Well, at least the third one. It's a horror game in space where you get attacked by dinosaurs.
Now you had a pretty cool story you were saying about Dino Crisis.
Yeah,
right?
the first time I played it that's the only one I've played, and I've only played a demo of it for the original Xbox, because they used to have a service where you can get demos and magazines sent to your house, and you would play those games. And I played so much of that. Midtown Madness 3 is another game I played, and there's a game called Psyops.
Okay.
Played a lot of that too.
Nice.
Fun times.
Well, hopefully you get the games that you want, Devro. Hopefully we all get the games we want. Next up in the headlines, a needed Call of Duty feature is coming back. Sledgehammer Games is currently testing a stay in lobby button for Modern Warfare 3. Last week, Call of Duty fans have found themselves being presented with an all-new stay in lobby button following their matches on multiplayer, giving them the option to remain with their randomized squad as the lobby transitions into a new match. This was once, back in my day, this was a common feature in Call of Duty, and was originally the default standard, and keeping players together unless they backed out and queued up again. When posts started surfacing online revealing this new feature, the first thing players started doing was criticizing how long it's taken to bring it back. Of course, there was also the players that demanded Sledgehammer give up on quality of life improvements like this to focus on the bigger picture. That's to be expected, according to Insider Gaming. This new stay in the lobby button, players will be able to remain with the squad that they were randomly paired with, and stay with them through the matchmaking algorithms. This is I love this feature. I think this is something that they should have never have gotten rid of. Look, like, I could just say for a fact, like, I've made less friends on Xbox since they took away the squad up button.
Yeah.
It's hard to make friends like in
When you
10
disappear,
minutes.
yeah.
Right. It's like you play one game with them and like half the time people don't even have mics. Like if you stick around a lobby for a few games, you kind of get the vibes going, and the next thing you know, you start playing with people. So, like, I think this is something they should have never gotten rid of. I think it's ridiculous and preposterous that they got rid of it to begin with. But it's great that they're bringing it back.
It was always a cool feature for shooters where you play a team.
Yeah.
And then
you're on a roll.
Map loads, you guys are just talking trash in the,
yeah.
in
and that's how you start to do it. Yeah.
Yeah. And you make friends that way, and it's funny. It's cool.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Next up, got a little bit of an interesting article coming up here that pertains to Starfield in a certain way. In a recent report published by Newzoo, the state of play for the gaming industry was outlined, with the firm looking back at 2023 in broad strokes, and then looking to the future about what's coming next. One standout slide spoke about the top 10 games from every core platform in terms of monthly average users through 2023, which by itself revealed some interesting tidbits. The data showed that Starfield was the only single-player game to appear in the top 10 games by average monthly users in 2023 across PlayStation, Xbox, and PC. It was the only new franchise to occupy one of the top spots. Every other game featured in these top 10 lists were multiplayer or cooperative, and astoundingly, the average age of these games, more than 7 years. So in 2023, this report's saying that basically, outside of Starfield, all the games that were most played were games from franchises that had been established and also games that had been out for years. In the report, it was made clear that live service titles continue to reign supreme over everything else in the industry. On every major platform, Fortnite boasted the highest MAU through 2023, followed closely behind the likes of Call of Duty, Grand Theft Auto 5, and Roblox. There are also special mentions for Counter-Strike, League of Legends, Rainbow Six Siege, Apex Legends, and Rocket League. Starfield was a standout example amongst these titles, which took data from 37 markets around the world. It was the only single-player exclusive game to hit the top 10 on a global scale, which was likely thanks to launching as part of Game Pass in September. It wound up in 8th place overall, sitting between Rocket League and Apex Legends. Ultimately, Starfield's marketing campaign and hype train is what won over millions of players initially. Yeah, I mean, I thought this was very surprising, but also not surprising. I mean, Starfield, whether you loved it or you hated it, everyone was talking about it. I think, obviously, 2023 was a great year for games in terms of the games that came out. But, I mean, like, it goes without saying that, like, this is really interesting to see Starfield top, 8th on this list. Only single-player game. I was actually listening to Colt Eastwood's XNC podcast, and they said something interesting where they looked at, like, the achievement unlocks. And so Baldur's Gate 3, as successful as it was, only 50% of the players made it through the prologue of Baldur's Gate 3.
Okay.
And so, like, I thought that was a really interesting stat because my mind would go to Baldur's Gate 3 last year. Like, well, why wasn't that talked about on this list? And it's because not everyone played it.
Well, I want to see that. I want to see that for, like, the first mission of Starfield as well. Like, how many people got through that?
Yeah, but I guess that's fair. That's a fair thing. I'm not sure. Oh, I'm not signing up for this. Newzoo wants me to sign up and make an account to get this information.
Oh, no.
I'm not doing that. But, I mean, I do trust, obviously, Insider Gaming's reporting. But, so, yeah, I think it says a lot about Starfield. That, more people played Starfield than Apex Legends. So, I think that's kind of crazy, to be honest. It's like one of the biggest Battle Royale games, period. Yeah. So, very surprising. But, I love Starfield. I know a lot of people didn't. Stand by it. I loved it. There was that time of the week again. It's time for some layoffs. Ubisoft's laying off 45 staff as part of their plans to streamline operations. Last November, they had cut 124, based mainly in Canada. Now it's confirmed that 45 staff will be laid off in its global publishing and Asia-Pacific divisions. Ty, that's very true, Ty. He says, you have dudes saying Starfield sucks, yet they played 150 hours in it. Yeah. So, like, sorry, I don't think you...
I mean, to be fair, do you love Assassin's Creed Valhalla?
I think it's got some real promising stuff in it, let me tell you. I think it's got great bones.
Okay.
I think I would have really enjoyed that.
And how many hours do you have in Assassin's
Here's the thing,
Creed?
actually. So here's the thing about Valhalla. If I had stopped at 40 hours, I would have loved it.
Mm-hmm.
I dislike it.
When did you stop?
I played it for 3 months straight.
How many hours?
I don't even know. I wanted all the achievements. You could look it up on my Xbox profile if you want to go look at it. It's on. If you want me to, I will. I got to keep the show moving. Yeah. So, and then other layoffs. Relic Entertainment laid off 41 employees after gaining independence. Last week, it was revealed that Relic Entertainment became independently run studio, moving away from Sega's umbrella. Relic is best known for Company of Heroes, the World War II themed strategy game. However, in a recent post on LinkedIn, it was revealed that Relic has made a wave of layoffs that have impacted more than 40 employees at the firm. It's a tough time for all involved in the gaming industry. Since the start of 2023, close to 20,000 industry workers have lost their jobs, and some studios have been shut down completely. Unfortunate stuff with layoffs at the companies. Number 18, we have some clarification on a headline we reported on last week. If you remember, this was the Gold Rush is over comments that were made. The Darkest Dungeon director, Chris Bourassa, has stated in an interview that the Gold Rush was over, and now he's kind of touching base again to clarify that his comment was aimed far beyond just Xbox Game Pass and Epic Game Store deals. He says, my Gold Rush comment was meant as an overall appraisal of the indie funding situation. As I said, deals are more difficult to line up, their average size has diminished, and many companies are facing layoffs. Epic deals have dropped in value. Game Pass deals are a bit more nebulous. There's little data out there and a lot more hush-hush. I know of 2 studios who locked great deals through last year. It's not that there is no money or that finding it is impossible, but publishers and platform holders are being much more conservative. Ty's laughing at my Assassin's Creed Valhalla take. Like, again, like I played it for 3 months straight. I wanted the achievements because I love Assassin's Creed. And I was loving Valhalla for 40 hours. And then I realized I was like, I've made a mistake. And then, like, here's the thing, right? Like, much like me trying to track down these Eclipse glasses, you hit a point where it's like, I've spent this much time. It would be a waste of that time to stop now.
I don't know. I don't know if I agree with that.
I don't know if I agree with it anymore. I mean, AEW Fight Forever, I was like, I'm done with this.
Yeah. That was hard for you to put down.
It was very hard because I could have powered through it. It was not a hard completion. It was not a hard 1,000 gamer score. But like I was at 800 and I was like, done.
Yeah.
I'm done with it. 4 out of 10. Terrible game. Hated it. Did I give it a 4 out of 10? I gave it a 3, 4, 2? I don't remember either. It was not good. But I don't know. They've been updating it though, so who knows? Maybe it's better now. That's why you make a good game at the start, so that way, because I'm not going back now. Anyways, Devro, do you like when? Well, I mean, you let YouTube videos play with ads, so I don't know how you're gonna feel about this. Roku wants to patent the ability to display ads on your consoles when they're connected to the TV.
That's disgusting.
Well, I'm glad you agree. While Roku originally started off by making streaming devices and sticks, in recent years it has started releasing branded smart televisions with the Roku software built in. Roku software features a screensaver which appears during moments of inactivity, and the company makes extra money by placing ads on the screensaver. However, when the TV is being used to play an HDMI device such as a game console, Roku software is no longer running and it can essentially no longer make advertising revenue through its branded TVs. However, Roku's patent, which was spotted by Lowpass and is still pending, would address this by showing ads on TV screen time anytime the HDMI device is in a pause state. According to the patent's description, the TV would study the signal coming in from the HDMI cable and would attempt to determine when the picture and audio have been on the same for a period. So
it sounds like I don't even know if you're like
it's scummy.
You're messing up the content of something that's not even involving you.
It's not you. Yeah, like, it's not yours.
Like I would still hate this, but if Microsoft said, "Hey, if you hit the pause button, we're going to show you an ad," I would still hate it. It'd be just as bad, but at least
it's their
platform.
Yeah,
the same thing with PlayStation or like Nintendo
or
like,
YouTube,
okay, whatever. But it's like you're going to another ecosystem and showing ads on top of.
That would be like if you were sitting here watching your YouTube video, or I was watching my YouTube videos without ads, and then you came through like, hold on, stop, pause it. Let me tell you about this. Let me tell you about today's sponsor.
And like I get the whole screensaver thing. Okay, I put my controller down for a while or my remote and I'm not watching TV or no one's watching anything. Play your screensaver, have the ads on that. Whatever.
So I'll devil's advocate as to why that could be a bad idea. So right now I'm playing Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, which a lot of time is spent with the game paused in the menus, looking at stuff. So like,
but you're looking through it, right?
I suppose, but like how
they're talking about a static screen. It would notice a static screen and then do
if 95% of the screen isn't moving. You think that the technology is going to be that perfect where it's going to like, oh, this screen's not moving at all? Like some pause screens have things moving in them.
It also takes time. Like if it's, are you staying on that for half an hour?
You can end up spending a decent amount of chunk of time in the menus. That's all I'm saying.
Either way, it's just it's gross.
Yeah, I don't like it. I hate it.
I haven't tried it yet, but recently Netflix put on games in their browser, and I haven't tried it. And it looks like you just play it with a remote, like their games built for remotes.
Yeah,
I'll try it out, but.
Well, I can tell you,
I like going to a whole nother app.
Well, I can tell you with confidence, I will not be buying any Roku products anytime soon.
Yeah,
definitely not. Next up in the headlines, BitReactor is revealing their unique approach for their new Star Wars game. In a new interview with PC Gamer, BitReactor creatives Danish Syed and Ryan McFall revealed plans to give the studio's new Star Wars game a unique feel. Danish Saeed works on BitReactor's art director, and Ryan McFall is the technical director. Regarding the visual style, they said that we're going to develop our own language that fits with Star Wars, but also feels unique to this game. The gameplay itself might also prove unique. Saeed and McFall said they want to expand people's perception of what the experience actually is of playing a strategy game. They want the game to support as many range of input devices as they can. Mouse and keyboard is the traditional for the genre. They want to get controllers. They might blend mechanics together that can get them to work. PC Gamer also notes that the duo avoids using the term RTS throughout the interview. They broadly refer to BitReactor's upcoming game as a strategy title. Saeed explained that players haven't seen what strategy games can be. Speaking about the complexity spectrum of the strategy genre, they also mentioned there's lots of variation in between. That implies the devs may be looking for a unique approach to strategy gameplay. It may blend RTS with other angles, or even ignore those mechanics altogether. BitReactor did not officially confirm any concrete details on the game, but these are interesting comments being made by the developers. Like, hey, we want to do a strategy game, but we want to do a different kind of strategy game. And put Star Wars in that, and I'm here for it. So, very excited for that. And we are going to close the headlines with some, I think, going to be good news. Fallout series is most likely going to be getting a second season, according to a California tax credit. According to a new report by Variety, Amazon's upcoming Fallout series now has $25 million in tax credits to move Season 2 to California. Amazon's new live-action show based on the hit Fallout series hasn't premiered yet. It will be releasing on April 11th, which is, what is that, Thursday? This Thursday. However, earning such a major California tax credit does imply that another season is very likely. The Variety notes that Amazon previously produced Fallout in New York and Utah. So this is great because I think everything we've seen from this show looks great.
Yeah,
so
I'm going to watch this one.
I am also going to be watching this. Yeah, we'll be talking about it next week, actually. And that's going to do it for the headlines. Let's get into the game releases of the week for the week of April 8th. Coming out tomorrow, Botany Manor comes out on Xbox Series consoles, Xbox One, Switch, and PC. I believe this is a Game Pass title. Children of the Sun is coming to PC tomorrow on April 9th. Gigantic Rampage Edition is coming out on PS5, Xbox Series, PS4, Xbox One, and PC on April 9th. Inkbound is coming to PC April 9th. House Flipper 2 is coming to PS5 and Xbox Series on April 10th. Let's Revolution, PS5, Xbox Series, PS4, Xbox One, Switch on April 11th. And Slave Zero X is coming to Switch on April 11th. Devro, I'm going to start off. I am cheating this week. My pick of the week is the Fallout TV show. I'm dead serious. I'm very excited to watch this TV show on the 11th. I don't know if are they releasing all the episodes or is it a weekly?
I was actually going to ask you that. I don't know.
I don't know either. I hope it's a weekly thing because I do like digesting it week by week. I am that kind of like. If the show's already available, I'll binge it obviously, but yeah. I would much rather kind of get in there and like.
If it is weekly, I'll probably wait. Because I enjoy binging. So
I like weekly because like you get to digest that hour or whatever it is. You get to digest that chunk of it.
Yeah.
And then it's on your mind. And people are talking about it. You can partake in discourse. I think
that's the best part about it is other people talking about it.
Yeah, I think when you do it where you launch it as a binge, it's just like people talk about it for like a week or two, and then it's like it kind of dies down. Whereas like if it's a show where it's like, hey, this is a 6-episode season, and I'm sure it'll be more than 6. I don't know how many it is, but. You know, it's like, hey, people are talking about the show over the course of 2 months. Like, it just becomes more ingrained in pop culture for that year. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Whereas, like, with the binge culture, it becomes kind of meme-like. Where, like, hey, everybody's talking about it. It's a popular thing. And then all of a sudden it's like, all right, we're on to the next thing. That's just kind of how I feel about it. Only Star Wars game I was looking forward to is Eclipse and Outlaws. Well, I'm excited for the strategy game all the same. Dev, do you have a pick of the week? You could cheat if you want.
Yeah, I'm also going to cheat and say Fallout because that's probably the only thing I'm going to consume for this week.
Yeah.
I have gameplay for Botany Manor. It's a puzzle-like game. It's really pretty looking. It reminds me of those like walking simulator puzzle games.
I mean, if it's on Game Pass, that's something I'm probably going to get into.
Something like The Witness. Like it has that kind of aesthetic.
Yeah, definitely. Okay.
You can grow flowers while you do it. So.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Well, we're gonna wrap up here. So yeah, you've been playing Slay the Spire.
Have you been playing Slay the Spire?
I know we were out on Saturday, on Saturday.
Yeah.
Just sitting there playing away.
It's fun.
For sure. Yeah, I'm still playing Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I did over the course of the last week dip back into Star Wars Battlefront Collection. You know, wanted to get my money's worth. Unfortunately, like I said, multiplayer just didn't work, which is kind of the selling point. So, you know, as I do usually with new releases, like here on the show, I do like to kind of do at least give a score. So, overall, game was really buggy. Just complete mess. Couldn't get the multiplayer working. That being said, I mean, Battlefront 2, the core experience of Battlefront 2 is still there, and it's great. It's kind of funny because, like, this is the Battlefront 2 that I grew up playing because, like, I didn't have, like, that big multiplayer. So it's like, it's kind of like, oh, this is exactly what I'm used to. but the allure of that multiplayer is kind of what escapes me. So like I do unfortunately give it like a 3 out of 10, 4 out of 10. That 3 and 4 is strictly out of love for Battlefront 2 in its original form for what it is. But the problem is if you're selling this as a not a remake, but if you're selling this version as like, hey, here's all this new content in terms of multiplayer and stuff, like that's kind of the selling point.
Yeah.
That being said, like while I was playing Battlefront 2, I had audio glitches where my game audio would cut out. It definitely was the game because my Xbox menu would open up and it would still make the noises on the menu. So I know it was the game that was doing it. Mm-hmm. My last achievement, like I said, didn't pop. So yeah, despite that, it's a 3 out of 10 just because they really messed it up, and it's very surprising. It felt like such a sure thing. Who knew porting a 20-year-old game
would be so hard?
Would be so hard. And game development's hard. I'm not trying to make light of it, but it's just like, man, disappointment. So now I'm going to double down and really finish Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, hopefully within this week. So, but yeah, I think that's it for us. Thank you everyone for watching. Make sure you let us know in the comments if you're not watching live. What are you looking forward to when it comes to this Gears of War 6 reveal and the Xbox showcase in June? Or Ubisoft, if you're excited for Ubisoft or PlayStation or whatever you're looking forward to. Make sure you hit the like button, subscribe, please. We appreciate it. Make sure you join our Discord, which you can find in the description below, where we're always talking about video games, amongst other things. I didn't get to post it because Devro walked in, so I just showed him that Robert Downey Jr. said he's willing to come back as Iron Man. But you will see things like that. You'll see Devro being disappointed in the Discord.
As always.
As always. But yeah, once again, thank you guys for watching, and we will see you next time.